Former President Bill Clinton is the target of contempt proceedings from congressional Republicans investigating the Jeffrey Epstein case. Hillary Clinton, the former First Lady and Secretary of State, is also facing a contempt proceeding if she does not show up to testify Wednesday as requested. The threats are being directed by James Comer, the Republican chair of the House Oversight Committee, who subpoenaed the Clintons as part of the panel's investigation into the Epstein saga. Here to discuss, Sarakshi Rai, Deputy Managing Editor here at The Hill. Hey, Sarakshi, so why did Comer subpoena the Clintons?
That's right. So earlier in the last year, and over the course of this investigation that is being led by the House Oversight Committee under lawmaker James Comer, what we've seen is that, both Democrats and Republicans voted unanimously to subpoena the Clintons to testify about what they know with regards to Jeffrey Epstein. Now, what we've seen is that the Clintons today have said that they will not be complying with those subpoena requests, and it's a witch hunt against them, and that they're pushing back against appearing to testify. Now, James Comer has said that, no one's accusing Bill Clinton of any wrongdoing. All they're saying is that they want him to come in and answer a few questions, but the Clintons really, saying that they've answered all of the questions. They've also said that they would provide written answers to the panel. But so far, what we've seen is that James Comer is really going after the Clintons in order to get them to sit in front of the House Oversight Committee and answer a few questions about their ties to Jeffrey Epstein. And we've really seen this kind of escalate over the course of last year as well with regards to the Epstein saga, the vote to release those files, the forced vote to release those files as well, and the Trump administration closing that investigation into Jeffrey Epstein as well, Drew.
Yeah, pretty strongly worded response from the Clintons to this subpoena. Tell us more about that reaction, what we saw in that letter from Bill and Hillary Clinton.
That's right. So that was a very, very lengthy letter that Bill and Hillary Clinton sent to Rep. Comer. Now, what we do know is that they're accusing him of basically using political means to try and pressure them to come to testify. They're also saying that, this is partisan politics and they're trying to distract from the real issues that the country is facing. And the Clintons also saying that, all of this is basically setting up a battle, whereas, that comes on the heels of another potential government shutdown and to close down the business of Congress so that they don't have to vote on those healthcare subsidies later this month, Drew. And the Clintons also accusing them of basically using this as a political witch hunt against them that would end up leading to their arrest. So essentially, arrest and imprisonment. So essentially, the Clintons really issuing a very strongly worded letter saying that this was all really, politically motivated against them, and that they aren't really interested in investigating Jeffrey Epstein. They've also accused them of releasing these decades-old photos, now, very embarrassing photos of Bill Clinton and his trips with Jeffrey Epstein that was released as part of this trove of Epstein files in December last year, and basically accusing them of using these embarrassing images to kind of shape and change the narrative so that the heat is kind of taken off President Trump and the Trump administration and the handling of this issue, Drew.
Okay, so Comer is now making this threat to hold contempt proceedings against the Clintons. What happens now?
That's right. So this threat of contempt proceedings is a precursor, essentially, to them then being sent this case to the DOJ, who could then pursue an arrest or imprisonment for the Clintons. So essentially, Hillary Clinton has until tomorrow to appear before the committee. Now, it doesn't seem likely, based on this letter, that she plans on appearing in front of this committee. Bill Clinton has said that he will not appear before this committee. And so essentially, basically this case will potentially be referred to the DOJ for a potential arrest for failing to comply with these subpoena requests. We've also heard from Speaker Mike Johnson, who said that, they will be held in contempt if they don't show up. And he said this just hours before the Clintons confirmed that they wouldn't be showing up. So essentially, this is turning out to be a very long and lengthy legal battle that the Clintons will be kind of fighting with James Comer and House Republicans, Drew.
Yeah, it would take a vote of the House simple majority, but with those margins so tight between Democrats and Republicans, it'd be interesting to see where that goes. Is this really just Comer and Republicans running distraction for President Trump? I mean, his administration has been dealing with these headlines regarding Trump's ties to Epstein. Now Republicans seem to be drawing attention to the fact that Democrats were also friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
That's right, Drew. But what we're seeing is that, this was a unanimous vote on this House panel, right? So while, there is these claims from the Clintons that this is used as a distraction technique, both Republicans and Democrats on this House Oversight panel voted to subpoena the Clintons. And this is something that was referenced in James Comer's statement after the Clintons issued their letter to him as well. So essentially, what we're seeing is that there is this concern from lawmakers across the aisle to really get down and speak to people and question people on their ties to Jeffrey Epstein and get to the bottom of this issue. But there's no denying that the Jeffrey Epstein issue has plagued the president and the Trump administration for the last year, since he was reelected into office and since he was sworn in for his second term. This issue isn't going away for the president. We've kind of seen it play out, especially in the latter half of last year, where Republicans joined with Democrats to force a vote on releasing these files. We then saw the DOJ release, thousands and thousands of documents, and they're still going through another 1,000 of documents. We know that all of the trove of documents haven't all been released by the Department of Justice. So this issue isn't really going away for the president, but it's still top of mind. Voters are still concerned about the president and his administration's investigation into this issue, and they are hoping that some of this gets to the bottom of it with this investigation, Drew.
Should we look at this differently than what Democrats did when they were in power? I mean, several figures from the first Trump administration were held in contempt of Congress. Steve Bannon, Peter Navarro were prosecuted.
That's right, and the Clintons in their letter kind of highlight some of the previous people who were subpoenaed by this panel over this Epstein investigation. Right, in the letter they say that several people were allowed to give written statements and then their subpoenas were waived. And so essentially what they're saying is that, why is it different for us? We're willing to provide these written statements to answer any questions that you may or may not have. But essentially, this issue, like I mentioned earlier, is just not going away for Republicans and the Trump administration, and James Comer now really going after the Clintons on this issue and with these subpoenas and this failure to appear for these subpoenas. And we'll see this kind of play out in the next couple of weeks and months as well, Drew.
All right, a story we will continue to follow. For now, we'll leave it at that. Surakshi Rai, thanks so much for your time.